On behalf of MyTac, I want to welcome everybody today to the jam making talk with Al Chisholm from Al's Backwood Berries. And Al is going to discuss some of how the production of how jam making is actually done, the process included with that, plus some really interesting, unusual flavors, strawberry champagne, twisted apple with whiskey, and how alcohol infusion changes the flavor of the product. So, without further ado, Al, if you could take us on this beautiful journey of jam making.
Thank you, Diana, and hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to talk. I'm going to be explaining a little bit. I do a little different with the jams and jellies. I do a lot with alcohol infusion. It all has to do with timing, when you put the alcohol in, and how it pulls out the flavor of the fruit. I make a raspberry rum jam that when the rum goes in, it burns off almost instantly, and then the raspberry just pops like somebody just picked it. It's delicious. But all this started with me. I grew up in Somerville, Mass, and every summer, soon the day after school got out, we would travel to Prince Edward Island, Canada, and it was a huge culture change. It was so laid back, beautiful country, a lot of farmland, a lot of fishing. Our neighbors out back were Babe and Kimball Gattell. They had 10 kids, all around our age. We all had a blast together, had unbelievable summers. And I learned from Babe picking raspberries, putting up raspberries, and they put up fish, lobster, all that stuff. Even meat went into a can back then. There wasn't a lot in Georgetown, Prince Edward Island at the time. And it's changed a lot since then. But yeah, and we had a farm out on the backside of town where our cousins ran a dairy farm out there. So we'd go out and help do everything, pick apples, pick cherries, and put hay away. And I was the one who didn't eat much fruit, not a big fruit person. So right now, for me to end up here, my brother is the reason. My brother Jack, my wife was terminally ill. She had scleroderma and vasculitis. I ended up with a leg injury that wouldn't allow me to drive a truck anymore. So I retired, and my brother said, "Why don't you try making jams and jellies?" So my brother Jack, my sister-in-law Lee pushed me in this direction. And it's been unbelievable ever since. We started out 11 years ago. We went to the Wellfleet Drive-In in Wellfleet, Mass. We sold 42 jars on Mother's Day. And now it's just every day it gets bigger and bigger. Just last night, picked up another local company that wants jam in 5-gallon pails. So we'll do about 33,000 jars this year of different types of fruit jams, whiskey, wine jellies. I gel all the wines. If anybody watching is making a trip down to Plymouth, if you go to Plymouth Bay Winery on the waterfront, I gel all the wines for Mike and Pam Carr. And we've got awards from the Boston Dessert Show. Mike and Pam were featured on Good Morning America with a segment called Booze for Breakfast. So yeah, we do a lot, and we were lucky enough and fortunate enough to be picked up by Sam Adams for Brewing the American Dream program that they run. What a wonderful company! And they allowed me to gel their beers, seasonal beers, on and off for 6 months, and ever since then, everything just flowing. So if anybody has any questions, we're going to put together a jelly here for you guys today. It's a new one for me. I'm going to use mango and tequila. So if you want to join in on that, I'll start that up right now. We'll take our time, go nice and slow. I prepped everything. I blended up all the mangoes, all the mangoes get blended up, not smooth, leave them chunky. Because a jam should have chunks of the flesh in it. Let me get over here and grab this thing. Sorry for all the extra noise. And this jelly that I'm making is going to be 4 pounds of mango, and it's 12 cups of sugar, a touch of lemon juice, sorry, I'm reading while I'm trying to talk. That's downfall of mine. Just a touch of lemon juice, and then at the very end, we're going to add some tequila. So let me grab my lemon juice. Sorry, guys. Off screen. Should have been more prepared. Just put a dash in. I'm not big on measuring, but I'll give you the measurements. This is the mango. Still chunky. Get it nice and hot. We're going to add 3 cups of pectin to the mix. And I know I have that all ready to go. So as soon as this heats up, so some more about how we get into this is designing my label was difficult. My nephew, Rob Kennedy, is amazing with all his computer skills, and all the other people around you. My niece Stacy, she runs the store for me. My sister Cheryl does all my labeling and helps me with promotions. And my friends Terry and Donna down at the Wellfleet Drive-In, they're always helping me with sampling my jellies. They make up different things down there at the snack bar. They'll put together a dessert pizza made with my twisted apple jelly, which is an apple pie jelly that I make with Jack Daniels and Fireball cinnamon whiskey.
So Al, I'm going to go ahead and read out some questions for you, so you don't have to worry about reading the chat.
Oh, okay.
Madeline says, do you do online ordering? And maybe we can drop your website into the chat for everyone to look at.
Oh, absolutely, Madeline. You could go to alsbackwoodsberry.com, and we ship all over the United States for a flat rate of $5.
Great. And then Anthony asks, how has the business been at the shop during the pandemic, and are people returning in person?
Yes, Anthony, we've had a great, last year has been great for us, even through the pandemic. We've people can call ahead. We would bring stuff out to their vehicle when they arrive. We would, the shipping was amazing. We shipped everywhere. We always told everybody in our radio ads that if you can't be with somebody for their birthday or Christmas or any holiday or any reason, contact us. We'll ship it to them, and you don't, hands-free.
That's great. And then a couple questions about pectin. Olivia asks if you make jam without pectin, and Fufi asks, what does the pectin do in the jam?
I have made jam without pectin. It doesn't set up as tight when you cook it down, but the pectin firms up. When you use sugar, or if you use a sugar supplement, you have to hit the numbers. It's a percentage, almost like fiberglass. Crazy way to put it, but you mix the pectin in, you bring it back to a boil, and then you add the sugar. But do everything slowly. Don't just dump it in. Like I'm going to add the pectin to this mango right now, and you'll see that it's 3 cups of pectin. And I just mix it in real slow. Let it melt into the mango. Don't do anything too fast. Just keep stirring so nothing burns, because it'll thicken quick with the mango, putting the pectin together. And it sounds like a lot of pectin, but when you cook with mangoes, counter-react pectin. So we'll let this mix in, come back up to a little bit of a boil, and then we'll add our sugar into it. Don't be scared. It always looks like a lot of sugar, but when this is done, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say we have one more question, but you can go ahead and I'll interrupt later.
Oh, I was going to say when this is done, a mango or a pineapple jam, if you mix that with cream cheese and a dash of balsamic vinegar and whisk it up really nice, and you cook any kind of seafood, a glaze on a fish after you cook it, or a dip for shrimp or scallops, it's amazing. Then I'm going to add 12 cups of sugar. You add it really slow, let it all melt in. It's pretty hot right now, so it's melting fairly quick. This was when I was a kid in Canada, this was a really big deal where our neighbor Babe would go out, pick the raspberries right in the yard. And she'd go in and she'd put up the jams for the winter. And I'm not sure if they ever really made it to the winter. She had 10 kids. So it probably didn't make it much more than a couple of weeks. Almost got it here. Couple more and we're done. Now we're going to bring this up to a boil. Nice and slow. And it doesn't matter what kind of tequila you use. I just happen to get this using the Tequila de Gold. And sometimes, like when you use rums, a white rum will flavor the fruit a little different than a dark rum. I prefer dark rums. And Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey is amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like that somewhat answers Madeline's question, which was, do you find that some brands of alcohol work better than others as far as flavor?
Absolutely. And it's all timing when the alcohol actually goes into the jelly. So you kind of want to put it in right at the very end and then just let it burn off really quickly, like boil for another minute or so after you add a little bit of alcohol. That's been our whole the whole story in the business has been alcohol. I mean, I put a bunch of bottles up here so everybody could see, but Plymouth Bay Winery, amazing how much wine jellies, and now we're doing wine sauces. And Mike Carr has an amazing palate. He has come up with flavors that I would have never thought would go together. And for me, my top flavors for alcohol use is Jack Daniel's, Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey, Gosling's Black Seal Rum, and Triple Sec and Creme de Banana. Those tend to really send the fruit flavors crazy. So I'm going to add a little bit. You could probably put a half a cup in here, but I'm just going to guess at it. Shake it in. I'll let that come up back up to a good strong boil. And then just let it boil for about a minute. And keep stirring it because mangoes will stick to the bottom of the pan instantly. My dad and mom probably would have a stroke if they were still alive and knew what I did for a living. always try to get me to eat the apples and the apple trees at the house in Canada. And we had wild cherries, everything. But for some reason, I was one of those kids. Now I eat everything I make, I use in cooking. I'm not a big peanut butter and jelly guy, but if you make like ribs, I do a blueberry chipotle that makes a great glaze, or a cherry bourbon, phenomenal glaze over ribs after you smoke them or cook them. And if you're ever cooking like burgers or steak, like I tell everybody, if you didn't want to use a jelly and you were going to make hamburgers, take fresh blueberries and mix them right into the hamburger and grill it. Or if you're cooking steak or steak tips, throw fresh blackberries in the pan with the steak or the steak tips and let it caramelize in. It's amazing. I make a pineapple ghost pepper bourbon sauce that is unbelievable on everything. I've had it. I do a big show in Maryland at Ocean City, and I've had it on everything from alligator to oyster fritters, and it is amazing. I make it so the heat's not overwhelming. I want you to taste the food and taste the pineapple and get that little sting. So the ghost pepper sounds scary, but not so much. Not so much. I think it's good to control the heat. Some people love a lot of heat. I personally don't like a lot of heat. So I try to keep the heat down. So if you buy it, everybody in the house is going to enjoy it, not just you. That's kind of my way of looking at it. But if anybody's in the Plymouth area, you can come down to our store here at 76 Camelot Drive. And you're welcome to come in. If you got some ideas on something you want to make or you want for a party, I'll put that together for you. I'll work with you. We can do it together. That's fine. And the strawberry champagne is another one. If you add a little bit of champagne to the end of your strawberry jam, because it's strawberry season right now, you will be amazed. You will never pick a strawberry that will taste that good. It is unbelievable. So I am going to get this ready. Grab a ladle. I got my jars off to the side here boiling. Lay them out. Give you a little idea of how I do it. I do a little bit different. See how it. So now all the tequila is burnt off of this, and you'll see how beautiful this looks. It's amazing. I think amazing is my favorite word. This goes great with any kind of dessert. If you wanted to make a pizza with a little prosciutto or ham, make like a Hawaiian pizza without the pineapple. This is an amazing jelly for that. I also boil my lids, and I use one-piece lids. I'm going to be smart and put on gloves. It's very hot. So what I do, a lot of people go straight from this to a hot water bath, but I've been told recently that they would like you to infuse, not infuse, sorry, to invert the jars for a minute before going to the hot water bath. Because that helps them to seal. When you go into the hot water, there's no chance of moisture getting into your product and causing it to mold. So you just give it a little turn, finger tight. Leave that for a minute or two, and then directly into the boiling water and let it sit there. Because of our elevation, it's 5 minutes, and then you can pop it right out. Set it off to the side and let it sit. Sometimes it'll take overnight to turn to actual jelly, but once it's cool, it's ready to go. If anybody ever comes down to the Plymouth area, the Plymouth Farmers Market is on Thursdays at the Plymouth Plantation. We have another market on Mondays in South Plymouth at the Pine Hills at the Rye Tavern. Brand new market. A lot of great vendors there too. As a kid growing up in Somerville, you could have never told me I'd be making jams and jellies and sauces. This is the last thing I thought I would be involved in, but it's the most fun I've ever had. Just playing with the different flavors and meeting amazing people. Like I said, gloves are very important. It's very, very hot. And you can use the same process for any flavor fruit you wanted to try to make. Just key is you're going to infuse it with some alcohol. Do it at the very end of the boiling process. You'll be amazed at the flavors you're going to get. I do a Christmas time, I do a bottle of Johnny Walker Red Label. Whole bottle for a lady in Florida, and she gives it to her employees for Christmas gifts. That's that. So now we just let that sit for 5 minutes, and we'll pull them out, set them off to one side, and they'll be ready to go.
That's fantastic, Al. We've got a ton of questions popping into the chat, so we're going to go ahead and ask a few, and just stop me when you've got to return to the boil.
No, go.
All right. So back when we were talking about pectin before, Jennifer was asking if the amount of pectin depends on the fruit you're using. Olivia contributed to this question by saying, like, for example, pear, apple, and citrus fruits have natural pectin.
Yes, but you can, the actual, I'm trying to think, the actual government statistics, like to be a jam and jelly maker, I'm considered a high sugar jam and jelly maker. And so I think I want to say it's 53% sugar, 2% pectin, and 45% fruit is what the government wants to see in your product. And if the sugar and the pectin don't jive together, it'll never ever set up.
Anna asked if instant clear gel can be used in place of pectin?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. You can use all that, any of that clear gel stuff in the place of pectin, but pectin, if you get the right pectin, it's all natural. So you want to get an apple peel pectin. I used to buy my pectin from a company in California, Pacific Pectin, and they had an apple peel pectin, but now they don't anymore. So I get it from an Amish place in upstate Pennsylvania, and it's pure apple peel pectin. It's a little more expensive, but it's worth it. I try not to use any chemicals like the preserves or anything. It's got to just go in plain straight up white cane sugar, apple peel pectin, a little bit of natural 100% lemon juice. It's the only way to go.
Absolutely. Diane asked, what have been some of the most surprising alcohol-infused jams and jellies that you've made or discovered?
Well, one, it's kind of funny. I did a peach jam when I was with Sam Adams. We did it for Angry Orchard, and it was they called it a peach preserve, but it had Angry Orchard hard apple cider in it with brown sugar, cinnamon, and it was amazing peach cobbler is what it really was. But from that, I learned from a local bartender that we had delivered some of this to, that there's a drink out there called Angry Balls. And I make that with Angry Orchard and Fireball cinnamon whiskey. No fruit, it's just pure alcohol. It burns off, but people seem to really love it with a whole wheat bagel, whole wheat English muffin.
Wow.
But there's some real crazy ones. I do strawberry mojito with mint. It comes out, the strawberry just pops, and then the aftertaste is a nice mint.
That sounds incredible. Olivia recommended fig with cognac, cinnamon, and orange zest.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. And I actually I make a fig, raspberry, orange, and ginger, which the name is Frog. And I just started making a new one that's called UFO. A little spin on the news with all the UFO talk. And that's Urfa peppers from Turkey, fig and onion in cranberry juice.
Kimberly said, speaking of stone fruits, is there a trick to making cherry jam and Saturn peach jam? They've tried a few times, and more times than not, the jam ends up having a really slimy texture.
Oh yeah, that's not that uncommon. That happened to me this morning with a blueberry jam. And I don't know how that happens. I didn't do anything any different. But one thing you should never do, if your jam doesn't set up, don't ever add any more pectin, add a little more sugar. And that should take it to where you want it to be. If not, you have to sell it maybe or keep it as a sauce.
Yeah. Madeline had asked if we could get the recipe for today's jam by any chance.
Absolutely. Actually, it's funny. I'm gonna show you some. Pick these out right now. And so the recipe for this, what I just made right there is 4 pounds of mangoes, 4 pounds of mango, 3 cups. Well, I use cups. It would be 3 packages of store-bought pectin, and then 12 cups of sugar. And at the very end, put a 1/4 cup of tequila in. And just a small dash of lime juice or lemon juice, whatever you like, lemon or lime, as long as you get some acidity in there. So I'm going to show you this is my little spin on this jelly. If I can work this deal out here. So we're going to call this jelly hold it up to the camera. I just got the label out for it. So we're gonna call it MIT, mango infused with tequila.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. And that jam will be great at the breakfast table, cream cheese and crackers, or at the grill this summer when you're grilling out some, some nice fish, or even in a salad. If you're not a fish eater, mix it in with your salad dressing.
That's great. Kimberly had asked, what kind of gloves are you using? I don't know if this pun is intended, but they said it looks handy.
They're actually just a set of work gloves that I bought at Home Depot. They got a little thicker padding so that the heat doesn't penetrate them for that short period of time that they're in your hand. Because believe me, they are like lava. They are very hot.
I can imagine. Diane had asked, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Diane had asked, how many jams and jellies do you make each year? And what is the most popular options out there?
I make up around 30,000 jars of jams every year. My most popular is my raspberry rum with the Gosling's Black Seal. That's the king of all my jellies. I do almost 200 pounds of raspberries a week for that one flavor. And then second is the twisted apple, but it doesn't sell as high on the Richter scale as the raspberry rum. The raspberry, it just explodes. I've actually received phone calls at like 10 o'clock at night, people asking me if I would be back at a certain show, because the one lady said she went in to take a shower and her husband ate the whole jar before she come back out. So she wanted to get more.
Can't blame them. Cindy had asked if Prosecco would work with strawberries instead of champagne.
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
That would work. Triple sec is amazing. It sounds strange, but creme de banana works unbelievable. And the brand is up to you. You can try different brands and see which one you prefer. I went through a lot of different flavors of alcohol, different brands, colors, until you find the one that really makes it pop.
Madeline had asked, if you're doing just whiskey jam, is it just the sugar, lemon juice, pectin, and whiskey?
Absolutely. That's all it is.
Wow.
Yep. You just, same with wine. If you have a wine that you like and you want to gel it up for an event, like to mix in with some cheese or something, one bottle of wine is 1 package of pectin, 5.5 cups of sugar. And that bottle of wine will gel up. And if you want to add like a spice into it or something, or even the fruit, you can. But with the winery, I can't even tell you. Mike over at Plymouth Bay Winery, we do one Bad News, which is a raspberry wine. It's infused with a peanut butter extract and dark Lindt chocolate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's what people call my raspberry rum, but the same with that. And our biggest seller at the winery is one called What a Pear, which is Mike's Widow Walk white wine, and a little bit of pear, a little bit of apple, cinnamon, and a little shot of nutmeg. And it tastes just like an incredible apple pie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Olivia, who's been jamming for years, asked if you can make your own apple pectin.
Yeah, you can. I'm not really sure how it goes down, but it has to do with the peel on the apple, the back of the peel. And I've never tried it. Olivia, I don't have the time to make my own apple pectin. If I could, I would, but right now I have to do almost 100 cases a day just to keep up. I just finished 28 cases of wine jellies this morning, and now I have to get at least 60 cases done for myself for the weekend. I'll go down to the Wellfleet Drive-In, and down there I do about 200 jars a day.
Wow, incredible.
Crazy. Yeah, it's out of control.
And how many jars did that batch produce? And what is the size of the jar?
So it's an 8-ounce jar, and it produced 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I got 14, 12. I got 15 jars out of that. I thought I would have got 16, but I got 15. So 2 pounds of fruit should give you 7 to 8 jars. So if you wanted to do strawberry jam, you would get, say, 2 pounds of strawberries, 1 package of pectin mix, and then 6 cups of sugar. And then your triple sec or your creme de banana if you want to infuse it with a little alcohol. You'll never taste the alcohol. The alcohol burns off. It's just amazing how it's going to pull that fruit out. And I can honestly tell you, nobody in Canada did that. If they were doing anything, they were drinking the alcohol.
That's great. Cindy asked if you strained the seeds out of the raspberry.
I don't, Cindy, I don't, because you lose so much of the raspberry. For me, it's easier for me to buy a raspberry puree that's already been, the seeds have been removed. It's much easier for me. I don't really have the time. That's the crazy part. I have a juicer where I can cook them on top of the stove, and the steam will extract all the juice from them, but I just lose so much. You'd have to charge another $2 a jar. And I think that's the key why I've done so well is I try to keep the price down so everybody can enjoy it, not just certain people. Everybody gets the chance to buy them.
Yeah. And then this is our last question for the moment. So everyone, put your thinking caps on and let us know if you have more questions. What type of wine works best?
I have that name in the back of my head. For me, it is, I got it right in the other room. It's a red wine. It's a Merlot. Am I right? Merlot?
Sounds right.
Yeah, that's the one that works best for me. And that you can add a wine to the strawberries too. Don't be afraid to do that. Just, you just want to keep it down because you don't want to pick up. Wine tends to linger, and you pick up a little bit of that in the flavor. So maybe cut down to like a 1/16 of a cup or something like that. And you might think that's not enough, but believe me, it really works. It really works.
Have you tried any vegetable jam? You mentioned onion with fig, and I think you also mentioned the ghost pepper as well. What about like tomato jam or carrot?
I'm making tomato jam tomorrow, and I make cucumber, and I've actually made spinach. And my spinach.
That I have never heard of.
Yeah, I think I might be the only one that's crazy enough to do that. And it's my niece just handed me a couple of jars. So that's my spinach jam. And then this is my cucumber. And I do a radish, but the spinach, when I did the Plymouth Farmers Market at the plantation, I wanted to know what was the big fruit that they would use, here in America. And most of the feedback I got was in England, the peasants would prepare spinach for the royalty, and they would boil it down in a Chardonnay wine, in a white wine. And then they would strain off the wine, and the king or whoever would get the spinach, the peasants would keep the broth, stuff it with breadcrumbs, soak them all up, and then make a pie out of it. So for me, I boiled the spinach, I strained it off, the wine, and it had all kinds of little bits of spinach in it. I don't know if I hold it up, you can really see it, but it's in there, and it gels up perfect, nice and tight. And you get a little bit of an earthy taste from the spinach. And I've been told it's amazing mixed into a salad dressing or in a stir fry.
Wow. Olivia asks, how do you make the cucumber jam? Sounds like, from the garden, they're gonna have a ton in a few weeks.
Yeah, so I peel the cucumbers and then I chop them up, put them in the blender, but don't make it smooth, like leave them a little chunky. And then I did the exact same thing. I used a dry white wine, and I cooked them in that, and then I gelled it. So the cucumber, I'm not sure if it's visible, but there's little chunks of cucumber all through it.
Yeah.
That's very popular. I don't think as many people make it.
It sounds very refreshing.
Yeah, it's my friend Pat down in Provincetown. She absolutely loves it. I make it spicy for her. I add a habanero to it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Have you used Midori in any jams or jellies with an apple jam?
I actually have. Years ago I did. I haven't done it lately, but yeah, I used Midori. That's the like the after drink, right? After it's green, if I'm thinking the right way. Midori.
Yes.
Yes. And I used that in an apple jam years ago. And I haven't done it lately, but I try to mix them up and do different types of alcohol when I can. I actually got a bunch of Greek alcohol from my daughter that I'm going to start making some different funky jellies with. You just got to think outside the box. If you got enough fruit and enough cucumbers and you want to try it with the tequila, definitely try it with the wine. The wine makes it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Real quick with the cucumber jam, is that with sugar and pectin and all of that as well?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. There's not a lot of pectin, I don't think, in cucumbers. Mm-hmm. Apples, pears, stuff like that, they're great. Even cranberries have a lot of natural pectin. And you can imagine we do a lot of cranberry stuff.
What about gin as an alcohol infusion?
I've never used it, but I would think it would be great. I think it would be awesome.
Is there any reason you've never used it?
No, I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. I'm like, wow, man, I've really never used it. Yeah.
We'll have to give Madeline credit for the next one that comes out with gin.
Yeah, tell her to send me her address. I'll send it to her.
All right. What about cucumber cranberry?
Yeah, we've done cucumber cranberry. We've done apple butter cranberry, and apple cranberry glaze. And I'm trying to think of what else. Well, obviously we do strawberry cranberry, raspberry cranberry. Yeah, we mix a lot of the different fruits together, and just to see if you can get the fruit, like the front fruit. If we do a cran raspberry, you should get a nice raspberry taste, and then on the backside, you should get the cranberry. And that's a big thing for me. I like so you get two different tastes out of one jar.
Yeah.
And I think infusing with alcohol helps that a lot.
Yeah. That's the chat has been answered for now. Again, anyone can feel free to add, but Al, you can feel free to spiel on anything else you want to share with us in the meantime.
If you go to our website, don't be afraid to look up some of our different sauces. I have some different cooking sauces like a lemon pepper sauce. I made a jelly for Mike at the winery that was tea and lime. I think it's called tea lime pie, he calls it. And I made it wrong and I put lemon in it. So I have a lemon tea jelly that's great summertime taste. A great,
Wow.
and I make an apricot and lime that is a phenomenal summertime taste. And we do coconut infused jellies. I thought of one the other day. When I was a kid, people used to drink a drink called the Bullfrog, which is limeade and vodka. So I'm gonna do limeade, vodka, and coconut.
Wow.
I don't know what it would be good on, but it sounds like it would be fabulous.
It does. And on that note, Al, do you have a favorite?
My favorite right now is my pineapple ghost pepper bourbon sauce.
Mhm.
That's my favorite. The bourbon makes that pineapple pop like you're in Hawaii or you're in the tropics. It's amazing. And you put that over chicken, fish, shrimp, scallops, fish tacos, shrimp tacos. I love it. Before that, my favorite was pineapple mango jam.
Mm.
And that, very similar to the mango we made today. You mix that with a little bit of cream cheese, a shot of balsamic, whisk it up really nice, and then glaze whatever it is you're cooking. But glaze it after you cook it.
That's great. All right. Well, Kathy asked if you use flavored rums to infuse.
I haven't, Kathy, but I use this. It's pretty cool. If you ever get a chance to try, it's whipped cream vodka. And it makes the fruit a nice creamy taste.
Hmm. Yeah, I imagine if you had like a peach vodka or flavored in something like that and used it to complement, if you'd get both of those flavors doubled down.
I just made a wine jelly for Plymouth Bay Winery that was their Colonial Red wine, which is a Concord grape wine. And I used Screwball peanut butter whiskey. So you get a little bit of a peanut butter and jelly taste.
Wow.
And the whiskey pulls out more of that grape out of that wine.
Mm. Any suggestions on what to do with 5 bottles of Strega?
No, I can't think of how I would do that. How many? You got 5 bottles?
Cleaning out a relative's house.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how I ended up with all these. Yeah. If you want to get rid of them, I'm more than happy to take them. I'll buy them off you. But I go through a lot of alcohol. A lot of alcohol. Tomorrow will be a raspberry rum day, and I'll go through one of these big bottles of Goslings. Like, phew, I'll be out of that by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And they and my triple sec will go quick too, because I have a big strawberry order too. But it's definitely worth doing. You could probably just take those 5 bottles and make a jelly out of it.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, if they're roughly the size, what is it, 750 milliliters for a bottle of wine? So if they're in that area, then it's like I said, it's I would go if it's 1 package of pectin and you put 5 bottles in the pot, I would go 6 packages of pectin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sugar. So 5.5 cups of sugar for every bottle of alcohol.
Great. Laura asked if you have a minimum for a custom batch, a minimum order for a custom batch.
No, Laura. Anything you have an idea you wanted something, it doesn't bother me. I'll make anything for anybody.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I ship, like I said, $5 flat rate.
All right. Have you used anything like mulled wine?
No, the only thing I've used moonshine, but I've never used mulled wine. No. Most of the
There's
wine
another
that
idea.
I get, yeah, most of the wine that I get comes from Mike. Most of the wine jellies I make are from Mike. I call them moonshine jellies if you go on my website. And all of mine are pretty much infused with fruit and maybe spices, like a lot of cinnamon, stuff like that. I do one with maple syrup. It's cranberry, maple syrup, and nutmeg. We do that. Mike calls that, I can't think of what he calls that one, but it's like a New England jelly.
Mhm.
You get the nutmeg from Connecticut and the cranberries from Mass, and my maple syrup comes out of Vermont.
Mm. Yeah, Madeline was asking, because I know you had mentioned peanut butter or peanuts earlier, but anything similar that has been heated with nuts.
Say that one more time.
They were thinking about anything that might have been heated with nuts.
Well, you could do, there is another one that I do with amaretto. Are they worried about nut allergies?
No.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I do a cherry with amaretto. And you get that nice aftertaste. And I also do a Frangelico peach. So you get that nice hazelnut aftertaste.
They were just wondering if wine or alcohol heated with nuts can be used for jam.
Yeah, I wouldn't see why not. You could probably just boil it all together and then strain it off. Unless you want to keep the nuts in, it would definitely work. It would definitely work.
Great. All right. Well, that I think might bring us to the end of this fantastic talk. Thank you everybody for participating so well with all the questions. I hope that we see a bunch of new jam makers on the horizon. Thank you so much, Al. This has been
no problem.
absolute
Thank you,
pleasure.
guys. I want to thank you and everybody involved. That was great.
Yeah.
Sorry if I was a little bit nervous.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much, Al. What an amazing, creative adventure through jam making today. So thank you so much.